Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. Today in this video, we're going to look at one of my mini Oncidium Twinkle hybrid, and the name is at the bottom of the video. So this orchid has been in full water culture for quite some time, and this is basically a video to share with you how it has bloomed and also the kind of care that it has received so far, and also some of the things that I think I may do differently next time. So in early December, I noticed that the buds were developing quite nicely, so I took a couple photos just to document. But one thing that I noticed is that for all the spikes that it was producing, there were only a few buds on each spike. It was very branchy. The spikes were pretty branchy, but each spike only gave me a couple buds, which is not very typical of Oncidium Twinkle type orchids. And also, this orchid this year gave me 5 spikes, but 3 of which dried up or died off early for some bizarre reason that I don't know. The other one that I have, Oncidium Twinkle, the pink variety, it was having some snail problem, so it was chewed up. The base of the orchids was chewed up, and a lot of these spikes were died off early. But this one, I went back to some older photos. I realized that its last blooming, it had more flowers, but the same thing. They were the 3 long spikes. They were only some flowers or buds. You know, they're sort of far in between. Compare that to Oncidium Twinkles, regular Oncidium Twinkles. I am guessing, I almost want to say that, well, assuming it's not my fault, then this may be a characteristic of this particular cross. It's just not that, it just doesn't produce as many buds as Oncidium Twinkles. I don't know, I could be totally wrong, but I look at some of the older photos, including the photo that I took of it when I first purchased it, and when it came to my place, it also had a spike, and that spike also had only just a few buds. I've kept this orchid in full water culture for probably a year already, and it's doing pretty okay. It's currently growing new roots and 2 new growths at the base, but in the later part of the video, I will share with you some of the ideas that I have for this orchid, you know, because I think a change may be in order, just to play around with it, just to see if there's anything I can do better to help this orchid grow better and give us more flower next time. Now, 2 weeks had gone by and the first flower opened, and this orchid, it has always been in sort of light pink because one of the parents is a Oncidium Twinkle. It's the white variety, but then this cross is taking that white variety of Oncidium Twinkle and cross it back to one of the Oncidium Twinkle's parent, the pink Satuanum. And so I think that's why this orchid has that pink in the background, but it's not the dark pink that we know of from Satuanum or the pink Oncidium Twinkle. The pink is pretty faint. And speaking of faint, the fragrance is also very, very light. Probably because there aren't that many flowers, so I really have to put my nose really, really close to the flowers in order to smell, to detect that fragrance. And this year I noticed that this orchid has quite a bit of brown leaf tips, and I believe that has to do with the nutrients. And I just need to figure out if I want to up the amount of fertilizer that I give to this orchid, and it has been 25%, a quarter strength of the recommended fertilizer dosage. And I'm thinking maybe I need to up it. But because it's in full water culture and because the roots are always sitting in water, I don't feel comfortable having higher concentration of fertilizer because it's constantly available, it's constantly in the water that the roots are in. So if I want to up it, maybe do it safely, is to perhaps change the growing setup for this orchid. Maybe I need to think about transferring it to semi-hydroponic system, so that way, because my white Oncidium twinkle is currently growing in semi-hydro and it's actually growing pretty nicely, at least better than this one. So I'm thinking that that may be a better way to grow these Oncidium twinkle type orchids. And another thing I was thinking, and this is totally just my crazy assumption, right? When I first got this orchid, it was, I think, less than $10. It was on sale, and I was thinking, gosh, the reason it's that cheap, could it be because that they knew already that this cross is not a very successful cross and it will only produce mediocre flower amounts? The amount of flower and buds is just mediocre? Or was it because it was simply a smaller plant in a smaller division, for example? Anyway, it could be a variety of reasons. I don't know, but you know, that's one of the things, right? It could totally just because the care that I give to this orchid is not optimal. But I'm thinking about all other reasons, just trying to make sense of it. But anyway, back to this orchid. The day before Christmas is the day that I took some of these photos, and because there were only maybe 1 or 2 buds that were yet to open, maybe 3, 4, I don't know. But most of the buds were opened already, so I took these photos just to document and share with you. And also, if coming up, you're gonna see that the second spike, there is a clip in the middle of it because I wanted to increase the weight of this particular spike, because it's so tall, so long that it's hitting the bottom of the shelf on top above it. And because I sometimes move this orchid around, and the buds at the end of this tall spike just keep hitting the bottom of the shelf above it, so I decided to put a clip on it just to make sure that those 2 buds are not damaged in some way. And here, this is one of what I call the dry day. The water level was very low. There was only very tiny amount of water at the bottom. And as you can see, this orchid was growing roots, and there were 2 new growths. So I'm really looking forward to another good year of growing this orchid. But I'm really thinking I should, give semi-hydro a try on this orchid, so that way I would feel more comfortable increasing the amount of fertilizer I give this orchid, and hopefully that would solve the brown dry leaf tips, but also hopefully increase the flower count for the next blooming cycle. So I'll keep you posted, but this year it's doing okay. It's not great, and I haven't really spent a whole lot of time taking care of this orchid, so in a way it's probably a little bit neglected compared to other orchids that I tend to pay more attention to. As you know, my heart really goes to Phalaenopsis orchid, but I do still love these Oncidium twinkle crosses. They're still really charming orchids to have, and I think every orchid hobbyist should have one of each kind. And I encourage you, if you're interested in getting a hold of this particular orchid, just go online, search. I've seen quite a few orchid nurseries online, nurseries selling this particular orchid cross. So, I'm pretty sure you'll have no problem finding this online. And typically, it's not expensive. Usually, I paid less than $10 for it, and I've seen anywhere between 12 and 15. So anything that's under 15 that you can find, I would say is a reasonable price. Well, good luck on finding one, and I will definitely keep you posted on the progress of this orchid if I'm going to do any different setup for it for the new year. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!